Hi
Any
everyone, welcome back to No Segue. I am Danette, and today I'm sitting down with Gastor Almonte.
There you go.
He has a comedy album out right now. It's called Immigrant Made, and he was also on Comedy Central's This Is Not Happening. Welcome, Gastor.
Thanks for having me, Danette.
How are you?
Always good. Yourself?
I am. I'm okay. I'm
That's
okay.
honest. I like that.
Yeah. I want to be a person that manages my time and like kills it. And sometimes I just like to fuck off, you know?
Yeah, you see, I agree with that completely. I actually purposely build in cushion into my schedule so that I could fuck off guilt free.
That's amazing.
I think it's important. I agree. Every now and then you should be able to like do that without feeling like the world is gonna crumble.
Yeah, like I do feel sometimes I do feel like, oh no, like I'm letting this slip and then that's gonna slip and that's gonna slip and who am I? And it's a spiral. Um, so how long have you been organizing your time and your play schedule?
Uh Probably the last like 4 years or so in particular, I've been doing that.
Oh wow.
Um yeah, like around the time like I started doing comedy full time, I had to balance being productive, being seen, and I'm married, I got kids, so I wanted to also be available and present for them. And I noticed that like whenever I didn't have that flexibility to just like jump into like a family activity, um I wasn't as good of a dad as I should have been or whatever. And then in turn the other way, like if I felt like I booked myself to the T with shows, I wasn't being creative. I was just like doing the sets. So
Mm,
yeah,
that's cool. So how many children do you have?
I got two.
You have two, and how long have you been married?
It's been now 12 years.
Congratulations, that's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah,
Commit
we got a good run going.
commitment is on fire. It's good.
Yeah, it
Wow.
is a major key. I think not enough people leverage it or view it as a positive. It's actually really dope.
Yeah, I've heard that from couples that say, I actually love my boyfriend or I love my husband. Like, I don't know why people shit on marriage so often.
Yeah, I fully get the it's hard part, whatever the case may be, and not everyone has their own individual relationships. But if you pick someone that like you genuinely vibe with and you connect with, it's also really dope, especially the good times. And that's kind of just how I weigh in general anything. Like, it's there are things that are tough about it, but the good about it is substantially better than anything that I struggle with. And over and over again, when I win or when I do something dope, that's who I want to call first. So why am I like skipping steps and having her somewhere else? We're in the house together now. I could come home celebrate. You know what I mean?
That's beautiful. Yeah, it's always nice when you can share the rainbow.
Yeah, that's dope. Exactly.
That is so cool. And how old are your children?
My daughter just turned 12,
Wow.
and my son is turning 11 this month.
Oh, that's awesome. So you have them back to back.
Yeah. Really early on, we have both our kids, and we are definitely done. But yeah, they're very dope. And they've been kind of a part of the majority of our
Yeah.
relationship in this last like third or so of my life. Really dope people.
How have you been balancing working like not working from home? I mean,
Yeah,
but having the kids in school at home.
yeah, it's different, for sure. I don't necessarily think it was a bad thing for everybody. I My son, I think, has actually done better in this environment. He's
Wow.
someone that like found a lot of school aspects distracting. He's really been able to like not only do the coursework, which is what's assigned, but he's enjoyed being able to do like a deeper dive whenever something about that day's subject really intrigues him. And then also I have like a huge advantage that not everybody has, and I acknowledge the privilege I have that both my parents and my in-laws are retired and nearby, so I get to leverage that a lot. My mother-in-law in particular is a former educator, so I 9 to 5 I get to say, hey, grandma, you could do quality time and watch my kid in school. make sure if they need help, they could talk to you, and I could still do, everything I got to do for comedy. I could do interviews, podcasts, I could write, and get everything done like a traditional working parent would anyway.
Yeah, that's amazing. When you guys hooked up, you and your wife, did you
Yeah.
purposely live near your parents so that they can like babysit?
I'm not nearly that smart. No, it happened
Mhm.
that way, but no. Admittedly, we were broke at first, so my parents owned the house that I actually grew up in. So it was like a weird, like history repeating itself thing, and I moved into that apartment when we first got together. So my kids had my old bedroom for like the first few years of our relationship. Uh,
Whoa.
yeah, like really trippy. And then we are really connected and well liked in the neighborhood, so we put the word out when I was able to save up enough, and asked around if anybody was selling a house, because realistically the market is so crazy, like I couldn't afford anything directly. So yeah, between what I had saved and my parents had saved, a person on my father and mother's block mentioned, hey, I'm selling a house before we list it for market. If your son wants it, I could sell it for this price directly to you. So I got like a dope deal just because she liked the idea of selling the house to someone that was from the block.
That's cool.
Yeah, so we got to skip out on like paying, realtor fees, and I got to do it for a little bit less money in general as well. And I'm still here, so I got like it's the right amount of distance where like my parents don't pop in every day, but so I still have my privacy. By the same token, when needed, I can see them and vice versa.
That's so cool. How excited were you when you got your house? Were you like celebrating for days after?
I celebrated about 3 months later. The
Okay.
When I initially got it, I was very stressed because it needed a lot of work. The first floor in particular, where we live at, so it was just like a lot of repair work. And just being frank, I don't know that stuff. My dad is really good at it. My wife is awesome at that stuff.
Oh,
So
wow.
I had to watch my dad and my wife talk and argue about what was going to be happening with my money. Like, so they were like, yeah, we're going to build this wall here. And she's like, no, I don't like that, I want this. And then they would talk about framing and piping, and I was like, how much is this costing me, so
Right.
yeah, but in the end it worked out. My dad's experience with like doing home repairs, my father-in-law did like engineering work and really made sure my
Oh,
wife
wow.
was really hands-on with that stuff. So they actually bonded a lot over the like making of that apartment that we now live in now. So it was cool with regards to that. But yeah, I felt happy 3 months later when I could actually move in and see the finished product. That's what I like enjoyed.
Yeah, moving is stressful. Yeah, I can't imagine. But yeah.
Are you
You get
local?
yeah, I'm in Queens right now. And I'm a native New Yorker. What you
Oh,
are too, right?
yeah,
What
for
where
Brooklyn,
Brooklyn? What part of Brooklyn?
East New York.
That's so cool. I was born in East New York.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah,
That's
and
what
then
it
my
is.
mom shipped me over to Puerto Rico. She's like, "You take care of her for now." Yeah. And then
That's
I
a
came
good
back to
call.
live in Park Slope. So
Okay.
that's where I grew up. Yeah. And I was telling Lana, she's a fellow comedian, that when I was living in Park Slope, I couldn't wait to get out. I don't know why. It was just like this desire to leave Park Slope. And it's funny because in the last 10 years, Park Slope is like so preppy and so expensive. I'm like, oh, who knew?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Way ahead of the curve over there. They like my dad talks about stuff like that. Like there was like a time where like in the late 80s you could buy like brownstones for like $1 in Bed-Stuy if you had the money to do the repair work. So
Wow.
like the city was like, because they had a ton of like abandoned brownstones.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So they were like, hey, if you could show that you have the money or the bank approval to fix it, we'll give you the building for free, essentially.
Wow.
So like if you had 50 grand to do the work in 1989, you'd be worth like $4 million today.
Yeah, for sure.
Craziness. Go
Well,
figure.
you know, when you mentioned your bedroom, I instantly knew what you were talking about because when I watched a Comedy Central, This Is Not Happening, your attention to detail was so specific. I felt like I was in the building with you. Like that was such a fun story.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And did you work with Jeff Zipper? Oh man, I'm messing up it. Zimmerman.
Jeff Zimmerman, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the big homie, man. He uh he helped me out a lot with that. With the first time I was on This Is Not Happening, I did the story Brooklyn Batman, and I workshopped it in his class. Yeah, in a nutshell, like I was, I do stand up primarily, and I was doing stand up for a while, but it's always been story centric.
Okay.
And Jeff and I got invited to do a storytelling show. So that was the first time I ever just told on one story the whole way through, and it was like I think it was a related story. But anyway, like he told me like, hey, you should just develop that. I work on it in his workshop for a few weeks. And I taped the graduation show and the show we did like the next day that we just happened to be booked on together. Then like it turns out like Ari, who at the time was the host, he posted on Facebook, hey, does anybody know any female and POC performers? I want to get more diversity on the show. And I don't know Ari. I wasn't at that point in comedy, right? So a ton of people started recommending me because they had heard me workshopping the story the last like 6 weeks. And then I had to like scramble to find the person that had taped it because they needed to tape that weekend, and I didn't even ask for it initially. So yeah, it worked out well. I over and over again, I'm in awe of the community's willingness to like help and co-sign good people when you put good energy out there. And again, I'm incredibly thankful for Jeff. Up until that point, I told stories. I felt like I told them well, but I didn't know why. Jeff kind of showed me what I was doing that worked so that I could repeat it.
Yes, I just finished taking his class and I told him that I feel like it's changed my life because
Mm-hmm.
the same, like I tell stories and people laugh and I don't know why, or sometimes I don't connect with people and I don't understand why. And now it all kind of makes sense and I'm like excited to like, like build stuff.
Yeah.
He's so cool.
Yeah, I felt like I saw behind the curtain of like, ironically, what we were already doing. I think like innately, like a lot of Latinos communicate in story. So I felt like, you might have learned, like, I felt like I learned storytelling from my family growing up. I would not be surprised if you've had similar, but in turn, that informality of the training, it's not like I know why it was working. I just know I was copying Theo, so
Yeah.
whatever he did, I did it, but I didn't understand how to repeat it.
Why?
So
Yeah.
Jeff made me aware of like what I was doing and how it worked. It was really dope. Super thankful for the dude. But yeah.
My family, we don't communicate in story. We communicate in yelling
Okay.
and screaming, and like icing people out. Like I'm not gonna talk to you for a week and you figure it out.
There you go. There you go. That works. It's effective.
Oh man. So has things opened up for you after doing This Is Not Happening on because that was for Comedy Central, right? That's like a really big
Yeah.
credit, lots of just yeah, like tell me more about that.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out well. It was a huge blessing. I actually, if anything, I feel like it could have gone very wrong, if that makes sense. I recorded that set my third year doing stand up, and it came out my fourth year. It takes like a whole
I'm
year.
sorry. I'm sorry. Hold up. You're how many years?
I was 3 years in when I recorded that set.
Okay.
So I got very lucky, like I said, like I was up until that point. I'm only doing stand up. I do this story. The people that see it like it. Janelle James tells me to like submit it. Jeff helps me with the story. So I submit it and they like it. And I go to this taping and it's me and like everyone that I idolize at this freaking Comedy Central taping. So I look at the board, everyone, and it shows you like there's like this board in the green area where like you can see the name of who's performing the 2 weeks that they're taping, who's their manager, their agent, their publicist, and it's all these like numbers and their like agency. And mine's is the only one that said same, because I had no reps. It was just me, right? So like contact Gastor, called his direct cell phone number, So it was like a weird moment. So yeah, like it was a blessing in the sense that I got booked a ton locally. I got to perform a lot more, and it helped me sharpen up my skills quickly because I got more stage time than I'd been getting before that. With that said, I had to like make a real tough decision early on after it came out, which was humbling, but the right decision overall. And I think I only was able to make it because I was a little bit older than most comics when I started. So I had like a certain level of like maturity and long-term vision that I don't think I would have had earlier. And what I'm talking about is when the TV credit comes out, people reach out to you to come do, hey, come feature for me or come do a headline set at these other places, paid gigs. I did not have an hour of material. I'm 4 years into comedy, right? I had like, a solid 15 to 20 plus this story that I now burned, right?
Right.
I can't use that anymore. So I'm getting calls and emails from people saying, hey, you want to come do this? You want to come do that? And I had to be honest with myself of like, yo, if I do that, I'm gonna look bad. Like I don't have that material right now. So I turned down very immediate money in exchange for being honest, both with myself and the community. I do think it was the right move. Like overall, I think to this day, if you burn a club weekend like that, those clubs will never call you back. They don't care how good you are now. If you go show up at a club and you do 20 minutes of material stretched out over an hour and
Yeah.
people stop buying tickets, the response would have been different. And I think 22-year-old me, if I would have started comedy like right out of college, I might have made the wrong call, whether it's for maturity's sake or economic reasons. Maybe I needed the money as a 22-year-old.
Mhm.
But for various reasons, I was in a place where I was able to say, like, you know what, this ain't the move right now. So yeah, I ate up every 10 or 15 minute set that people threw at me in New York. And I worked a lot to make sure that I didn't feel any imposter syndrome whenever those opportunities came back around later.
Wow, that's very Patrice O'Neill.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Because am I saying his last name right? There's a lot
Mhm.
of sun coming into my face, and I'm like, is that even like the documentary that just came out? The documentary that just came out on HBO says that I think he was at a club and someone said, "Hey, do you want a spot?" And he's like, "No, no, no, I'm not ready." And
Mm.
they were commenting on how mature and how dedicated he was to be on, like to know that he wasn't going to hit that stage until he felt like he was good. So when you were telling me about your start, I'm like, oh, that's very Patrice O'Neill. Like you're given the opportunity, but you just know that you want to present yourself better. Like you want to come with it. You don't want to just wing it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, it means a lot to me, like to be honored with stage time. I value getting the opportunity to say and share my thoughts. And there are places without question where you could go and develop those ideas. But when someone's paying you, they should get the fully developed idea. They should get, the fleshed out material. And I didn't feel like I had enough of that to justify that. And I would have felt wrong. And big picture, it might have hurt. Like it would have burned shit, and I
Yeah,
wouldn't be able to go do those shows again.
I can. Yeah, that's true. How long have you been doing stand up now?
Yeah, this is I would say year 8. I don't know how you read this quarantine year, but yeah, if this
It's,
counts, it's
it still
year
counts.
8.
Yeah,
Okay,
it still counts. We were still breathing.
there
We
you
were still
go.
writing. Wow. So how do you, let me ask you a couple of more comedy questions. So how do you deal, what are the three things that you love about stand up?
I mean, there's a lot about it. Like I love the ability to.
You love all the drink tickets, right?
There you go. Yeah, why not? Right.
All those
The
free drink
never-ending
tickets.
tickets. I gotta look for it. 2 years ago, I saved all of them and was stapling them on a paper. So I had like a weird looking collage of all these tickets from different rooms and clubs and bars in New York. I love the ability to just be able to fully figure out how you feel about an idea. I think that you can do it in other ways, but I don't think enough people spend the time doing that at all. I think a surprising amount of adults have no idea how they fully feel about anything because they don't spend the time thinking about it.
As a
Uh,
Nazi.
yeah. I'm just I feel regularly that like if I really like engage with a topic with a comic, we'll have a deeper conversation faster than if I do with my friends, and we'll be more stable about it because we're comfortable going that deep about a
Mm,
topic. Whereas when I have a combo like that with a friend, they'll offer me incredible insight of non-performer, but I have to be ready with to deal with the more emotional roller coaster because they're not used to doing that about any topic in depth. Like people are just grinding, dealing with their 9 to 5 or whatever. So yeah, I enjoy the ability that I kind of get to do that. I enjoy the connection. I like just seeing people eye to eye and thinking all the crazy things that are in my head. Am I allowed to curse? I don't know.
Oh
I've been
yeah, I've been cursing since like minute one. Yeah.
okay. I wasn't sure, but yeah, like all the
Thank you for
crazy shit
asking.
that's in my head, like I get to say it out loud, and I get to hear people say like, yeah, that's I agree, or I
It
get it at the
resonates.
very least, yeah. So I would say those two are the biggest ones, and then like the last would be specifically the success in comedy. I like kind of giving back in emotional way to the people that have invested in me as a person. So like it feels dope when you're on Comedy Central telling this crazy story about how your dad did something and you get to tell that to your dad like, hey, come tune in, so
Okay.
having that
Yeah.
moments like that are really special. The
Wow.
second year when I went back to Comedy Central and I'm doing the taping, the first time I was so nervous, I went by myself. I'm pacing back and forth in the hotel room for 4 days. I didn't go out at all. I didn't see LA whatsoever. The
Oh
second
wow.
time, I felt far more comfortable. I bring my wife out. I wanted to like experience it. On the way out from the taping, people on the line recognized me from the first taping, and like that felt good for me. But it felt better that she was there to see like, yo, there's a payoff of all the times when like I'm going out to do shows instead of being home for dinner or whatever the case may be. So
Yes.
yeah, that stuff is invaluable. I love that.
That is so cool. Oh my God, so juicy. Yeah, I forgot that you get to share your success with your family and that, yeah, that's important.
Yeah, it's a huge win. I think there's a ton of value in that. And it's a big part of why I think I have an easier time with the grind. And I'm in awe of comics that are pursuing this while they're young and still trying to find those relationships or develop them or maintain them with their parents. I have that advantage that like when I have three terrible sets at a bar show, I get to go home. Somebody still loves me and hugs me.
Somebody still loves you.
Yeah,
That is
so
important. That's a leg up. Yeah,
yeah, it's a huge advantage. So yeah, I am very appreciative of them.
very nice. Are you, I have, wait, so I should hold off a sec. So so the comedy question, what are some things that you don't like about comedy? Like three things that you could do without or that you wish could be better.
In terms of New York specifically, I wish there was less pressure to hang.
Oh,
I think that the hang is dope. I love seeing comics. I love talking with comics. I don't feel it should be necessary per se. Meaning like I should be able to get a set even if you haven't seen me stay after my set the last 2 weeks. I think that it's a disadvantage to ironically your better comics because they are more experienced, but in turn when you are more experienced, that does mean you did more time. So you're probably 30 and up. Maybe you're 40 and up. Maybe you're 50 and up. Those people also have other commitments. So like being frank, I'm not hanging out at a club till 6 in the morning, till 4 in the morning, whatever. I got a wife and kid. I'm gonna spend time with them. I'll do that once a month for sure. Every now and then, like the vibe is right. I know my kids are taken care of, but doing that every night just because I might get an extra spot at this club going forward, I don't think that's a fair system. It's unhealthy. And
it is
it
unhealthy. Yeah, there's a lot of drinking that happens.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's just it's whack in my opinion. And it ironically it's more time away from me making material. That's 4 hours
yeah,
I could have been writing jokes. I could have been home prepping for the next day's work. So
touche.
yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Uh, the drink ticket thing, I wish there was other ways of
Like actual
compensating.
money,
Yeah, that'd be nice, maybe a chicken nugget ticket would be cool. Just
just a little
mix
nugget.
it up.
Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, those would probably be the two biggest
fry.
ones. Yeah, some a protein and a carb,
Yeah,
just chewing would be nice to be able to do. But yeah, I think those would be my two biggest. And probably the last would be like cultivating talent. I wish that more clubs would figure out more ways that were uh required either less economic investment from initial young comics, and allowed them to develop more, whether that's stage time in particular ways, or um I'm not sure of the exact answer, but I feel like a lot of clubs are a lot of rooms are predatory towards young and inexperienced comics, and they leverage them as opportunities to make money instead of this is our next performers in 10 years.
You mean they are taking advantage of people's time as opposed to actually um develop, like literally giving them like a course of sorts, like
Yeah,
come,
yeah, like
like
this stuff like
you
that they
volunteer
do.
for an hour and then in exchange we'll give you, like, make it more fair.
Right. There's ways of doing that that like if it was done correctly and thought out, the club would still get a return on their investment both immediately and long term. In that, hey, you'll get help at the room and you'll get a talented comic that is loyal to you, and the comic gets to feel like, oh, I'm getting better, I'm getting stage
That's
time,
true.
and I'm getting
Yeah.
to see this. Like bringer shows I think are something that need to get looked at heavily, at least their current cost.
That's
Whereas,
so bad.
yeah, it's just such a weird dynamic that like the same room that like in ideally should be helping you get better because they need you in 5 years to be good, because the comics that are on stage there now are hopefully doing bigger shows as well. So they should be trying to develop you to be on stage. And some rooms do this, but not all. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's opportunity for that. So yeah, I don't know how that works per se, being frank, but I know that there's a lot of really talented and intelligent people that own the clubs, and there's a lot of talented comics that perform at them. And I feel like if we brainstorm something there, we could come up with some cool, whether internship systems or something like that.
Something beautiful.
Nah, it's there. I mean, I believe.
Yeah. What's your favorite city to perform in?
Uh, I mean, obviously, I'm partial to New York in general. I think in terms of getting good, this is it. In terms of crowd response and having fun, I actually would go a lot with a lot of the Florida places. I think Orlando and Miami have like very rowdy and fun rooms. DC is a fun place to perform at.
I love DC.
Yeah, DC is a lot of fun.
They always give me so much love. And then Miami and Florida are rowdy. Do you think it's because there's a lot of Latinos there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a different vibe. Like I definitely think there's a big thing about going places where you are the night out. And I think that's just
Yeah.
there's something fun about that, like knowing that you are the event. In New York, as dope as the city is to allow this many stages, there's so many things. I've done shows where I was one of three places to see comedy on the same block at the same time. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like we have a ton of spaces to perform, but like as an audience, you're spoiled by that almost.
That's 100%. You're right. Yeah. You're right.
So like there was a time, like there's a New York Comedy Club, for example, their new location. If you time it correctly, you could do a show on at four different businesses on the same building, because they're on the base floor. There's the Crane Theater on the first floor. There's the KGB bar on the second floor. There's the I forget the name of the lounge on the third floor.
I
So
love
you
it.
could those are all different sets.
You're a
So I
hustler. I
had
love
a
it.
yeah, so like that's dope in terms of like I could get sharp really good and quickly, but the audience is different because of that too. Like they're like, yo, what are you bringing today? Because I just saw somebody last week that was crazy. Whereas in like in Orlando, like if they see you, like that's the like one of two nights that whole year that they're gonna see comedy.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good perspective. I didn't even think about that because as a New Yorker, I am also spoiled with with everything that's happening in the city. Wow, man, it's so good talking with you. Like
Likewise.
the basis of this show, because of the pandemic, is to like see how people, like performers are taking care of themselves spiritually and physically and mentally. But with you, it's like I just want to talk comedy. But can you share with us like what you've been doing? Well, it seems like you have an amazing family, so I'm pretty sure that's has a lot to do with your self-care. But what do you do for yourself personally to like stay mentally clear and to like stay connected to yourself?
Yeah, I mean, a few things. One, I've become really big on giving myself time to think through and fully understand how I feel about everything, and I do that almost every day. Like, I at the end of the night, I jot down whatever major thing I felt that day, whether it's like a positive or a negative, and what event gave me that feeling. Um, it
Let
gives
me
me
interject.
clarity.
Let me
Yeah,
interject. Are you saying that you stay in touch with your feelings by writing them down?
yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's invaluable. Like it gives me clarity before bed. I felt like up until that point, like I'd go to bed and I'd feel more restless if I had like a moment of tension and I couldn't fully express why. Um,
That motherfucker.
yeah, like what the hell, B?
Like, what happened? There was no fries, no nuggets.
Surreal, B. I messed up my sandwich. I'm tired of this. And sometimes it's literally that simple, but like
Yeah.
by the same token, I had to figure out a way to do it that was fair to my fam. Like my wife, God bless her, will listen to me talk about whatever I'm dealing with, but Monday through Friday I don't want to throw that on her because she has, she got to go to work the next morning. So writing helped me do that in a healthy way, and then I throw it all at her on Saturday, like, hey, yo, this was been going on this week. but yeah, like it's been important for me for that. And also it's helped just because it's a good way to kind of like work out material. Like now I know how I think, this is what bothered me, and in turn I could figure out jokes from it now that I understand it better, and I'm okay with it because now I'm reflecting on it as opposed to still mad about it.
Right. That's gorgeous. It's good. I mean, doing these interviews, like I'm learning, I'm actually happy to hear that men are in touch with their feelings. Like it also speaks to how successful they're doing. Like I think you're pretty successful, and look, you're a man that's, like journaling basically, and like releasing all that tension and all that stuff on your mind.
Yeah,
Do
I
you
appreciate it. By the same token, I don't know if I'm at the point to where I would tell my boys, y'all be journaling.
I know. As soon as it came out my mouth, I'm like, oh God, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
yo,
wish I would
yeah,
have
I
made
gotta
it
get off the
cooler.
stoop, Yeah, I'm gonna get off the corner real quick. I gotta go journal. You know what I mean? Gotta get in touch with my thoughts. All right, my G.
For the record, if more men and young men did that, we would be in a much happier place.
I agree. I agree. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is a funny concept. I do want to do that. I'm gonna end the convo like that this week with one of the boys. What? Yo, y'all home. I gotta let you go, my G. In my diary, I gotta update that right quick. You know what I mean?
Word, what kind of diary are you
Nah,
using?
man, I
What
gotta
kind
use
of pen you using? Yeah, it'll be inspiring. Do you,
it.
and then what else are you a prayerful, like, do you practice spirituality, or do you meditate or go to church or mosque or?
Yeah, truthfully, I don't do much of the church stuff anymore. I My family does quite a bit. My in-law, my father-in-law is a deacon.
Oh
And
wow.
I grew up in like the whole church environment. I'm not anti it. Just I haven't done it myself in a while. I do spend a lot of time, I would say, meditating. I think that I would say every day I spend like about 10 minutes meditating in the morning. Um
It's amazing.
yeah, I think it's a good way to kind of like clear your thoughts, and allows you to kind of like get centered before tackling the day. um I've learned, and I had to plan for it. I felt like if I didn't specify that into my day, it didn't get done. It's weird, like it's important, it makes me better, and yet it's also the first thing that I dismiss
Yeah.
whenever I'm rushed. And and it always like I always look at the end of the day like, yeah, I had such a shitty day. Why was today bad? And it's because I chucked the very thing that was for me in the day. Like the only thing that I do up until the evening when I'm writing for myself, I give myself those 10 minutes, and yet the second anything goes out of whack, we're so quick to dismiss the only thing that is about you that day. So yeah, I've gotten really serious about making sure that I give myself that time. Right after I drop off the kids, I kind of like just sit down, I get centered, I don't turn anything on, and then I kind of start the day after that.
That's beautiful. I can co-sign on that. I was recently experiencing some turmoil because I recently moved into a new apartment and it's just very chaotic. Um just lots of turmoil in my life, and there's no time to meditate. I have to be busy with worrying thoughts, I have to be busy complaining. And then finally I was pushed against the wall with like what I was able to do. Like I was, there was noise in my apartment, and the new landlord was like, too bad. And I had to contend with that, and I was so angry, and I felt like I didn't have any power. It was
Mhm.
beyond me. And so the only thing I knew to do to reclaim my own power was to just sit down and like meditate and pray. And I swear to you, like as soon as I did that, I felt such peace. And the next day I had a really nice day, even though the same chaos was happening around me. But it was
Yeah.
like, I'm not being disturbed by this. Like, this is beyond me. Like, my only responsibility is to like stay true to myself. Because I noticed that sometimes, like, especially being a New Yorker, there's a lot of aggressive energy coming at me sometimes. And in order to adapt, I start to become aggressive. Like, I'm cursing at people,
Right.
I'm being nasty. But that's not who I am. Like, who I am at the core of it is like a peaceful, like, let's hug and love each other. um and so I realized that even though if someone's cursing at me or someone's like putting their shit on me, it's not okay for me to like shit back. I mean, I could shit back on them, but it doesn't make me feel happy.
Right.
So the meditation really helps with like reminding and like clearing away. It's so good.
Yeah, I guess what I struggled with for a long time, and we kind of like joked about it a little bit before, is a lot of it is with the wording. Like, um, I don't know why, but something about like hearing meditate or pray, those words are important, but they're loaded. They have other meanings to it that, by the time you get to a point in your life where you're considering needing that kind of peace, you're also coming with the baggage of what those words were told they mean to you. And like it's weird trying to separate that or do it differently because you think, no, this is how you pray or this is how you meditate. I don't know if there's a way of easily changing how you think of what that word means, or if there's another word that doesn't feel that way. But I think that would help a lot. Like, like I know, like I've heard of people, for example, that like, they have a treadmill at home and they feel that that is their meditation. They get to run in silence in their apartment, and it gets in the act of running gets them in like a similar flow state. And what they're describing to me sounds like what I'm going after when I sit down and meditate. So I feel like that's their way of doing it. But if I told them they're meditating, they would be defensive about it.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, one of my best friends from high school, I'm constantly like, you should meditate, and she's like, you should shut the fuck up. And I'm just like, I'm just trying to help, but like, I think it's because of what you just said. It has so many connotations, like she's probably thinking of like, I don't know, like I don't know what she's thinking. She's probably thinking it's soft. It's like, but
Yeah,
yeah,
but
it's
like if you told her, hey, yo, but I got this private beach. Let's sit down on the sand for 4 hours. That would sound cool, but it's a similar effect. Like, yo, let's just sit in silence. Just the wording and the environment, it wouldn't feel like a thing, if you will. But
yeah.
yeah, something about that. Like, I wish there were a way of removing that, like that preconceived idea of what they have if they're going in, and I think they'd be healthier and more willing to engage in it.
You can literally create that new word.
Yeah, right.
Like,
I'm
I'm not
working on it.
journaling. I am, what could you say? I'm not journaling. I'm
uh, I've
writing a
got.
passage.
There you go. There you go. I've gotten less pushback when I tell people I'm writing raps. Like, I'm like, like why is that okay? Like, like Nas could write in his notebook, but I can't write in my notebook just because it doesn't rhyme. You know, like,
Just because my book is pink, what?
what's going on with that? I got stickers. Okay, that's it.
They make me happy.
Yeah,
Oh
get
my
you in my
God.
special place.
Gaster, this was so much fun. I think I have like 100 more questions for you, but I'm trying to be concise with the time. Um, can you tell the audience where they can find you and where they can get your new album?
Yeah, yeah. You can catch me on all social media at Gastor Almonte, GastorAlmonte. You can catch my special Immigrant Made streaming on Amazon Prime, free if you have a Prime membership. And you can listen to my podcast, The War Report, updated every Thursday, hosted by myself and the homie Chalet with Sharp.
Cool. You guys have to check him out. He's really funny. His stories stay with you. They're amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in. Come back next week. I'll be here with another guest, but please hit like, subscribe, share, and check out Gastor. Bye, everyone.
Take care, y'all. Peace.